She announced, "I'm moving in with my male best friend. Hi, Reddit. I, 27 male, am seriously confused, frustrated, and honestly hurt right now, and I need some perspective. I've been with my girlfriend, let's call her Lena, 26 female, for almost 2 years. We've had what I thought was a solid, loving relationship. We talk about the future, kids, marriage, all of that. We've met each other's families, we spend most nights together, and I really thought we were on the same page about building a life together. But a week ago, she dropped a bomb on me that I just can't shake. We were having dinner at her apartment, nothing special, just a normal night. Out of nowhere, Lena said very casually, like she was telling me about her new shampoo. So, I've decided I'm moving in with Aaron. Aaron is her male best friend. They've known each other since college. I've met him a handful of times. He's always been polite, but I'd be lying if I said I was completely comfortable with their closeness. They text a lot, they hang out one-on-one, and he's the first person she calls when something stressful happens. I've brought it up before, and she always reassured me with, "Don't worry, we're just friends." He's like a brother to me. So when she made that announcement, I froze. I literally put my fork down mid-bite and just stared at her. "You're moving in with Aaron?" I asked. "Yeah," she said, as if it was the most natural thing in the world. "His roommate is moving out and rent is cheaper if we split it. Plus, we already spend so much time together, it just makes sense." I laughed nervously, waiting for her to say she was joking, but she didn't. She just kept eating like she hadn't just detonated a grenade in the middle of our relationship. Finally, I said, "Lena, how do you expect me to be okay with that? You want to move in with another guy, your best friend no less, while you're in a serious relationship with me?" She rolled her eyes. "It's not another guy, it's Aaron. You know him. You've met him." "You know we're just friends." I felt my chest tighten. "Yeah, but Lena, moving in with him? That's not just hanging out or grabbing coffee. That's sharing a home. That's sharing your life." She put her fork down and sighed. "You're overreacting. It's just a living arrangement. I don't see the problem. You know I love you, not him. But I do see the problem. I see about 100 problems. For one, how am I supposed to feel secure knowing my girlfriend is living under the same roof as another man, one she's emotionally close to? For another, why would she want to live with him and not me? We've talked about moving in together someday, and I thought we were getting closer to that point. Now she's skipping right over that possibility to live with Aaron. I tried to stay calm. Why wouldn't you move in with me instead? Or find a place with another female roommate? She shook her head. I'm not ready to move in with you yet. And I don't want to live with someone random when I already have Aaron. He's like family. This isn't about replacing you or anything. It's just practical. Her words stung. Not ready to move in with me, but ready to live with him? How does that make sense? Since that night, it's all I can think about. Every time I picture her living with Aaron, cooking together, watching TV late at night, sharing the same space, I feel sick. I don't want to be the jealous, controlling boyfriend, but I can't pretend this doesn't bother me. It feels like a massive boundary is being crossed. When I brought it up again yesterday, she got defensive. I shouldn't have to give up a living situation that makes sense just because you're insecure. Trust me, nothing's going to happen. You're my boyfriend. Aaron is my friend. That's it. But here's the thing. I do trust her to an extent. I don't think she'd intentionally cheat on me. But I also know that living together creates intimacy, even if it starts as platonic. It blurs lines. And frankly, it feels disrespectful to me and to our relationship that she'd even want to do this. I feel stuck. If I protest too much, I look like a jealous control freak. If I stay silent, I'm basically agreeing to something that makes me deeply uncomfortable. And Lena clearly thinks this is no big deal, which makes me feel even more alone in this. So Reddit, am I the asshole for not supporting my girlfriend moving in with her male best friend? After Lena's announcement, things between us felt tense. I couldn't stop thinking about it, and she acted like I was making a mountain out of a molehill. The first few days, I tried to brush it off. I told myself she loves me. She's not going to cheat. Maybe I'm just being insecure. But every time I pictured her moving in with Aaron, I felt my stomach twist. It wasn't just about jealousy, it was about respect. It felt like she was dismissing how serious our relationship was by prioritizing convenience with him over commitment with me. When I tried to bring it up again, she got frustrated. "Jason," she said. "Yeah, my name is Jason. I shouldn't have to change my living situation because of your insecurities. This is practical. It saves money. It's comfortable. You're reading into it too much." I said, It's not about being insecure. It's about boundaries. If you're in a committed relationship, moving in with another man, especially one you're super close to, is crossing a line. She frowned. So you're saying I can't have male friends? That's controlling. No, I said quickly. I'm not saying that. I've never had an issue with you having male friends. But living with one? That's different. That's not just grabbing a coffee or venting over text. That's daily life. That's sharing a home. That's me saving money and living with someone I trust, she cut in. You're making this out to be something it's not. That conversation went in circles. She refused to see my point, and I felt like I was banging my head against a wall. I decided to talk to my friends about it, hoping to get some outside perspective. Their responses were mixed. One of my buddies said, "Dude, no way. That's a red flag. If she respects you, she wouldn't even consider it. Moving in with her male best friend while she's dating you? Nah." But another friend said, "I don't know, man. If she says it's just friendship, maybe you should trust her. People can live with the opposite sex and keep it platonic." That didn't help much. It just made me feel torn. I even asked my sister what she thought. She sighed and said, "I wouldn't do it if I were in her shoes. Even if it's innocent, it looks bad. It puts strain on a relationship unnecessarily. Why would she choose that if she cares about how it makes you feel?" That hit me hard. Because that was exactly my question. If Lena cares about me, why isn't she taking my feelings into account? Meanwhile, Lena kept talking about the logistics of moving in with Aaron like it was already set in stone. She mentioned how they'd split chores, how they'd rearrange the furniture, even how they'd decorate the living room. I sat there listening, feeling like I wasn't her boyfriend but just some guy on the sidelines. Finally, I snapped. "Do you even realize how this makes me feel?" I asked one night. "You're planning your future with him like I don't exist. Do you understand what it's like to picture the woman I love moving in with another guy?" She looked at me with genuine confusion. "Jason, I'm not planning a future with him. I'm just living with him. You're still my boyfriend. That doesn't change." "But it does change," I insisted. "It changes everything. You'll be spending your nights with him, eating meals with him, sharing a space with him. How am I supposed to feel like your priority when he gets more of your daily life than I do?" She crossed her arms. "So what's your solution? I just don't move in with him because you're uncomfortable? That's not fair to me." And that's when it clicked. She didn't see this as a relationship issue. She saw it as my issue. To her, it wasn't about respecting boundaries. It was about me being insecure. In the days that followed, I noticed other things that made me uneasy. She started texting Aaron more frequently, especially at night. She'd laugh at something on her phone, and when I asked what was funny, she'd just say, "Oh, Aaron sent me a meme." I caught her on a phone call with him at 11:30 p.m. once. When I asked why she couldn't wait until the morning, she said, "He couldn't sleep, so we were just talking." It was little stuff, but all of it added up. She kept saying I had nothing to worry about, but she was basically living half her life with him already, and she wanted to make it official by moving in. I started losing sleep, replaying everything in my head. Was I being paranoid? Was I justified? Or was I just a jealous boyfriend setting myself up to ruin a good thing? The breaking point came when I asked her point blank, if the roles were reversed, if I told you I was moving in with a female best friend, would you be okay with it? She hesitated for a second too long, then said, "Well, I'd be a little uncomfortable. But I'd trust you." I just stared at her. "So you admit it's uncomfortable?" She shrugged. "Sure, but uncomfortable doesn't mean wrong. I'd still respect your decision." And I realized then that we weren't speaking the same language. To her, this was all about independence, trust, and convenience. To me, it was about respect, boundaries, and what it means to be in a committed relationship. Reddit, I'm stuck. Am I the asshole for feeling betrayed that my girlfriend is choosing to move in with her male best friend, even though she insists it's innocent? Am I being insecure, or are my feelings valid? By the time Lena actually started packing boxes, the tension between us was unbearable. Every conversation seemed to circle back to Aaron, and every time, we ended up in the same place. Me trying to explain why I felt uncomfortable, and her accusing me of not trusting her. One night, after she had spent the day at Aaron's place measuring the living room for furniture, I finally lost it. "Do you even hear yourself anymore?" I asked. "You talk about Aaron more than you talk about me. Every sentence starts with his name. Do you realize how that feels?" Lena threw her hands up. "Jason, I'm moving in with him. Obviously, I have to talk about him because we're figuring out logistics. You're acting like I'm cheating on you just by mentioning his name. I clenched my jaw. It's not just that you're mentioning his name. It's the way your face lights up when you talk about him. It's the way you stay up late texting him. It's the fact that you're making a massive decision without caring how it affects me. She shook her head, her voice sharp. You're twisting this into something it's not. This is about rent, Jason. Rent. I can't afford to live alone right now, and Aaron is the obvious choice. Obvious to who? I snapped. Because it sure as hell isn't obvious to me. If money was really the only issue, you could find a female roommate. You could even talk to me about moving in together since we've been serious for 2 years. But no, you go straight to Aaron. How do you think that looks? For a moment, she went quiet. I thought maybe I had finally gotten through to her. But then she looked me dead in the eye and said, "It looks like you don't trust me. And that's not my problem, Jason. That's yours." That night, I couldn't sleep. Her words kept echoing in my head. That's your problem, was it? Was I really the problem here? Or was she just refusing to acknowledge how unfair this situation was? The next day, I confided in my sister again. She sighed and said, "Jason, I'm going to be blunt. If she cared about your feelings, she wouldn't be doing this. Even if nothing ever happens with Aaron, she's showing you that her comfort is more important than your boundaries. That's not what a healthy relationship looks like." Those words hit me like a punch to the chest because deep down, I knew she was right. A few days later, Lena and I had our worst fight yet. She had just told me that Aaron's old roommate was officially moved out, and she would be moving her stuff in the next week. "So that's it?" I asked quietly. "You've made up your mind and nothing I say matters?" She crossed her arms. "Jason, I've told you 100 times, this is just practical. You're the one making it dramatic. I love you. That doesn't change just because I share an apartment with Aaron." "It changes everything," I said, my voice breaking. "It changes the fact that I won't see you as much. It changes the way I feel when I think about us. It changes how seriously I can take our relationship if you're choosing to build a life with him instead of me." Her eyes narrowed. "So what, Jason? Are you saying you'll break up with me if I move in with him?" I hesitated. My heart was racing, but I knew the truth. "Yes," I said finally. "If you go through with this, I can't do it. I won't sit around pretending it doesn't bother me. I can't be in a relationship where my girlfriend lives with another man and tells me my feelings don't matter." She stared at me, shocked. "So you're giving me an ultimatum?" I swallowed hard. "I'm setting a boundary. If that feels like an ultimatum, then maybe that tells us something about where we stand." The silence that followed was suffocating. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just looked at me with this mixture of anger and disappointment, like I had failed some kind of test. "You really don't trust me at all," she said coldly. "It's not about trust," I said. "It's about respect. And I don't feel respected right now." She grabbed her bag and left without another word. For the next couple of days, we barely spoke. She texted me once saying, "I'm moving in next week. If that's your deal breaker, I guess this is it." And that was the moment I realized she had already chosen. Not Aaron necessarily, but herself. Her independence. Her comfort. Her convenience. And in her mind, if that clashed with our relationship, then the relationship wasn't worth bending for. I sat in my apartment staring at that text, my heart pounding. I couldn't believe this was happening. After 2 years of love, laughter, plans for the future, this was how it was ending. Over her moving in with another man, but at the same time, I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't the one who gave up on us. She did. So Reddit, am I the asshole for standing my ground and telling my girlfriend I can't be with her if she moves in with her male best friend? Or am I being controlling and unreasonable like she says? Lena moved into Aaron's apartment last weekend, not as my girlfriend. We broke up the night before she carried her first box over. There wasn't some huge screaming match, no dramatic final kiss, no last-minute change of heart. Just two people who had spent 2 years together realizing they weren't on the same page anymore. When she came over to talk, she sat down on my couch and said, "So this is really it, huh?" I nodded. "Yeah, I can't do this, Lena. I love you, but I can't be in a relationship where my boundaries are ignored." She looked at me for a long moment, then said, "I wish you trusted me more." And I replied, "I wish you respected me more." That was it. That was the end. The days after were brutal. I'll be honest, there were moments I almost texted her, moments I thought about begging her to reconsider. But every time I pictured her living with Aaron, Cooking dinner together, watching movies on the couch, maybe falling asleep in the living room after a long day. I knew I couldn't handle it. Even if nothing physical ever happened between them, the emotional closeness would always be there, staring me in the face. It wasn't just about jealousy. It was about what kind of relationship I wanted for myself. I realized I needed more than just words of reassurance. I needed actions that matched the commitment we had talked about, and if she wasn't willing to make choices that protected our relationship, then maybe our definitions of love and respect were just different. Talking to friends and family after the breakup was eye-opening. Some said, "Good for you, man. You stood up for yourself. She clearly wasn't prioritizing you." Others said, "Maybe you were too rigid. People can live with the opposite sex and keep it platonic." But the opinion that stuck with me the most came from my sister. She said, "Jason, it doesn't matter what other people think. It only matters if you felt respected and secure in that relationship. You didn't. And that's all the justification you need." She was right. Looking back, I don't think Lena is a bad person. She wasn't malicious. She didn't set out to hurt me. She just had different priorities. To her, moving in with Aaron was practical, easy, comfortable. To me, it was a deal breaker. Neither of us was wrong for feeling the way we did, but we were wrong for trying to force each other to see it the same way. I've learned a lot from this whole situation. Boundaries aren't ultimatums. They're simply lines we set to protect ourselves. It's okay if someone can't accept your boundaries, but that means they may not be the right partner for you. Trust and respect go hand in hand. Trusting your partner doesn't mean ignoring your own discomfort. Respecting your partner means taking their feelings into account when making big decisions. Love alone isn't enough. You can love someone deeply and still not be compatible when it comes to values and boundaries. And that's okay. Now, a week later, I feel surprisingly at peace. I still miss Lena, of course. I still think about the good times we shared. But I don't regret standing my ground. I know I would have been miserable trying to pretend I was okay with her moving in with Aaron. I'd rather be single and true to myself than in a relationship where I constantly feel second place to another man. So, Reddit, I'll ask one last time. AITA for ending a relationship with someone I loved because she chose to move in with her male best friend? From my perspective, I wasn't trying to control her life. I was trying to protect my own peace of mind. And in the end, I think that's what everyone deserves.